because I was in classes with group home kids and foster kids, and the smell of unkeptness, right? And there's actually a reason why. One of the things that I thought about when I became a dad is, and I became a foster dad, I was like, I don't want anybody to know that our kids are foster kids or adopted kids. So it's always been super important for me to make sure that they dress like our kids, right? And if you see my, Instagram or anything like that, I have a section called a section called drip. So I make sure that my kids are dripping and looking good, looking presentable wherever they go. It's just a little bit of our thing, but our family is kind of gravitated towards that, and everybody is dripping. How you doing? I'm Sam.
I'm Cindy.
And we are the Dorvils. So this is part 2 of kind of telling our story, which is still kind of new for us. So I just wanted to check in and just see how you're doing today.
It was a different day. It was the first day having Caden home. We pulled him out of school. I'm doing some homeschooling now, so that definitely changes up the schedule. But I think it went pretty well for the first day.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it went well, but then I also thought it was a little alarming. Do you want to shine light on it?
Yeah, he definitely needs some work on his identifying letters and numbers. He's pretty good with colors and shapes, but yeah.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't say it was completely a bad thing, but hands-on learning is something new for us. But I think it's good for us to kind of see exactly where your kids are at. Sometimes you could test them, at home with some simple stuff and not fully get a good idea on where they're at. But seeing it firsthand was it was eye-opening to us today. So.
Yeah, we've got some work to
do. So we just had Thanksgiving, and did you enjoy yourself during the holiday or what?
Of course.
Yeah. I would say the only issue was having three, sometimes 4 kids at home for that long period of time. I know any parent could kind of relate on how sometimes that could get a little...
Oh, you're talking about Thanksgiving break. I thought you were talking about the day and the pies and the food.
No, Thanksgiving Day was amazing. I mean, our family kind of does it right.
Yeah, Thanksgiving break was a little rough.
Yeah.
A lot of whining.
Mm-hmm. So... All right, so let's dive back in. It was so being able to share my story for the first time is new for me. But the way I look at it is, hopefully, my story is able to share to help some other people. Right? It's definitely going to be able to help the kids in our family that we foster and adopt. But if there's other people out there that have gone through some struggles and understand that, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And if you rely on our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, he could kind of shine the light on a lot of things for you. And that's an area that I rely on a lot to give me clarity, because I don't feel like I would have received clarity through my childhood at all.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, having faith definitely helps you get through a lot. And when you're fostering, you see a lot of unexpected behaviors that you may not see with your biological children. So you definitely need to be in prayer, and you need a community that's going to help you walk through those struggles, because it is different and it can be very alarming.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. So I'm going to just take a few steps back, and we're going to go a little bit back into my story again to kind of um, discuss some of the things that I saw that helped me kind of help push me in this direction for foster care. So um, one of the things I could remember, because I was in classes with group home kids and foster kids and stuff like that, is, I mentioned in my earlier video how sometimes um, the smell of unkeptness, right? And there's actually a reason why. One of the things that I thought about when I became a dad is, and I became a foster dad, I was like, I don't want anybody to know that our kids are foster kids or adopted kids. So it's always been super important for me to make sure that they dress like our kids, right? And if you see my, Instagram or anything like that, I have a section called a section called drip. So I make sure that my kids are dripping and looking good, looking presentable wherever they go. It's just a little bit of our thing, but our family is kind of gravitated towards that, and everybody is dripping.
For the different generations, if you don't know what drip is, it could also be like swag or mojo or whatever word you want to use for just cool.
Mojo is definitely her mom's word. Yeah, definitely her mom's word, right? So words like drip or dope, those are those are the words that I use to describe certain types of things, which makes the most sense for me. But I get and understand if you don't fully, get the lingo. But that's okay. So, one of my friends growing up, his story, um, his story was his parents. His parents had died. He was young. He was about 13, and I believe his brother was about 11 years old. And I remember his parents had passed away, and he didn't want to go into foster care. So with no parents, he decided to kind of raise himself, and he would live in abandoned houses, and he would do whatever he needed to do to go feed his brothers and feed himself and stuff like that. And those are some of the things that kind of stuck with me. And the only reason I'm able to kind of tell you these types of stories is because living it was far harder than being able to tell somebody about it. I already lived it. I already saw this, firsthand. So being able to talk about it, is a little bit easier for me now, even though some of these subject topics are, very challenging. So I don't share it to glorify any parts of it. These areas are still painful for me, but I am okay with illuminating it because we do want to, share some awareness about foster care, and sometimes in some of the conditions that would push kids into foster care.
I'm just shocked that they were able to do that without an adult noticing or pursuing or trying to step in and get them out of that situation. That's the shocking part to me, even more so than them trying to raise themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of situations that kids fall through the cracks, and that's one of them. And I know when he was out in the streets as well, I know he did end up falling into drugs as well. But luckily now he is clean and he's on his feet, which is good to know and good to understand. But these are the types of stories that I connect with, and then these also are the type of stories that that drive me and really give me purpose, because I would say that I do harbor a lot of pain, but this pain also motivates me because I don't want any other kid to experience the types of things that I experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know there's one situation in particular that you say is what made you become passionate about foster care? And would you like to share that story?
Yeah, sure. I'll share that story. So, well, just prepare your hearts for this one because this is the one I think probably, did it to me. I didn't fully know at the time, but my eighth grade girlfriend, um, I would walk her home from school all the time. And I just remember this one day, um, she she didn't really want to go home. She was kind of uncomfortable. Every time after school, I'd be walking her home from school, and then her stepfather would be out in a truck. It'd be kind of like he would like follow us, kind of slowly. It was really weird. And I just remember one day she told me that her stepdad was raping her after school. And I just remember just being so mad. And, around that time, I was really rebellious. And I said to her, I was like, I really want to punch him in his face, and I was prepared to do it. And I remember her telling me, was like, no, don't do it. He carries a knife on him. And then I remember speaking to her and I told her, you need to say something. And when I told her that, she told me later I gave her the courage to say something, and she did. And then that started um, her journey through foster care. And I remember talking to her all the time on the phone. I remember visiting her one time at the mall because she moved away, but we kept contact. And I try to talk to her all the time and what's going on and how things are different. But it was um, it was a different moment. I didn't really fully understand the impact of that moment then.
But she ended up having a positive experience in foster care, right? That's what made you think, hey, I'd like to be on that side of it and help other people.
She did. She had a really good experience with the family that took her in, and she spoke very highly of them. And it put a cap on um, some of the trauma that she was experiencing. So then that kind of did give me a thought that there is good people out there, and there is opportunities for people to to serve in this way. So I didn't. So we get into high school and we kind of go our separate ways. I kind of lost contact with her, through the years. So I didn't really know exactly what happened, after that. We recently, connected again, and I was able to get more background, more of a background story on what were some of the things that led up to it. And it's heart wrenching when you truly hear someone else's story, and how they ended up in foster care. There's just more back there. It's kind of hard to hear, but also knowing that you get to at least just give a little reprieve or opportunity for a kid. So the way I look at foster care is, if your family is in a bad situation, and you're a kid and you don't have that opportunity, you would come chill with our family. And my family has always been in open arms. The type of family that I came up in. They kind of treat everybody like family. So that was a big moment in my life. And probably the biggest moment that I'm going to share with you guys is I was sophomore year of college. And I was sleeping, and I had this dream, and I knew it really wasn't a dream. It was a vision. And the only reason I knew that is because when I was 8 years old, I was at Vacation Bible School, and I gave my life to the Lord in Vacation Bible School. And I just remember um, the experience and what I saw after. It was almost like he illuminated himself and kind of showed it to me, showed himself to me. And when I saw this dream, it replicated that. That's when I knew it wasn't a dream. It was he was speaking to me. So, and the vision said that I would foster or adopt 17 kids. And I remember literally saying, "That's a lot." Right? God didn't respond back, to that. So, but it stuck with me, and for some reason, I just knew I had to pursue this vision. And I don't even know why. And I in the beginning, I didn't even share with anybody because I thought, people would think that I'm crazy.
If you're interested in more of our content, please hit like and subscribe.
But, slowly, I began sharing this vision, and I also began chasing this vision. And it's kind of crazy how some of these things have kind of come together.
And if you're not in foster care, 17 probably does sound like a lot. But now that we have a great community of families that have been fostering for decades, some of them, 17 is actually a pretty small number compared to how many children have come through their homes. So maybe we're not shooting big enough, but I mean, that was the vision. So we'll get to that goal and then reevaluate.
Yeah. So, because we're part of these foster care and community groups and stuff like that. And when I share this vision and I hear somebody and they say, "Hey, yeah, I've done 17 or I've done 30 or I've done X amount," I'm like, wow, these people are like rock stars, right? Where I'm just trying to doggy paddle a little bit and get to where I'm getting to. I think part of it, for me, as a parent, you kind of get to see your miniature self again. I would say one of the things that's different for me is witnessing a childhood for the first time, right? I would say
a free childhood.
A free childhood, right? My childhood was different. It wasn't free. It wasn't full of innocence or
giggles.
Or yeah, it was.
There's so much giggles.
Yeah, there's a lot of giggles. There's a lot of laughter. So kind of watching that and being able to create that for not just for my kids, but other kids is something that I truly feel great about. I think it also makes up a little bit for I think some of the lack of love that I didn't really fully get, in spaces. I think it's being made up a little bit and kind of filling up my heart with some different type of love.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I would say how I got into foster care, being passionate about foster care, didn't start as far back as it did for him, but I've always loved children. I was a teacher coming out of college. I taught for a couple of years. I've coached. So I've always had a passion for kids and working with kids. My goal when I was young, I thought, was to have 5 kids, 3 biological children, and then I wanted to adopt 2, one from another country and then one from our country. And that's just what I thought would be pretty cool. But then when I came down here to South Florida and we were looking for a church and we came across Calvary Chapel, they were partnered with 4Kids, which is the licensing agency that we're licensed with. And they would have a foster care weekend and they would show these stories and videos, and just watching them, it really tugged at my heart. And then as we went through our infertility journey, it was almost like the push that we needed is like, you need to be in this now. You need to be doing this. Like I've set you up for the skills to take care of these kids. And that's why I became passionate about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say I was truly prepared for this for a lot of reasons. So a lot of people, when they, see that we have 4 kids and 3 of them are from different means, everybody was like, oh my God, that must be hard. But it is challenging, but hard is relative to, certain things that you experience in life. And I think this is it's challenging, but it's not as hard as people may paint it out to be. So it's challenging on your time and challenging on your patience. Sometimes we're not gonna sugarcoat that, but that's just.
I thought I was patient until I had kids.
You're still patient, but it just sometimes it happens. Right, we're parents, so
it's a lot of stimulation.
It is a
at
lot
all
of
times.
So I met you the year out, after college. So you want to dive into kind of how we met and kind of how our stories began to intertwine?
Well, it was 2007, Christmas in July, so July 28th.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend Lindsay and I were out at a bar for a Christmas in July party. That happened to be the bar that his roommates always went to. So he was there. And he happened to have one of his really good college friends there with him that night he was visiting. So Lindsay was my wing woman, and she knows that I like the chocolate. So she was on the lookout for me and happened to spot Sam. I couldn't see his face, but I said, I think he has a nice butt. So she went over and checked out his butt, and he happened to turn around.
I did. I'm
while she was doing so.
What is going on here?
So that started the conversation. And then his friend came over too. So I was talking to his friend, and the conversation was flowing, but it was like my friend and him, and then I was talking to his friend. So I was like, we got to switch this up. This isn't going the way it's supposed to go. And then eventually, somehow we did. I think you were buying drinks, and
somehow it literally was like this. And I'm like, hey. She's like, hey. I'm Cindy. I'm like, what's up?
But the conversation was easy.
It was easy. Yeah.
They had music, so we were dancing, having fun. Connecticut bars close at 2, so then we were headed to the diner, and he sent his friend home in a taxi and joined us at the diner.
I had to throw him in there.
So that's how we met. We hit it off from the first night. He worked on the weekends, so I think the next day he was working. He sent me a text asking if I wanted to go for sushi in a couple days. I, at the time, did not eat sushi.
But she could have fooled me because she was like, yeah, okay. I was like, okay, she likes sushi.
Yeah, I had to say yes. So we had a sushi date. Again, conversation was just easy. We walked on the beach after.
We did.
We watched a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And we just quickly became really good friends. He was living with some of his college football player friends, but he didn't have like close friends. And I was a couple years out of college. I had a couple of my friends from high school still nearby, but I was missing those college connections too. So just the friendship grew quickly. He asked me to make him some brownies.
And she was a professional brownie maker. I used
brownies as my excuse to see him more often.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it kind of just grew from there. But he didn't want a relationship. He was still trying to get over his previous girlfriend. I was just open to seeing where things went. I just, had a gut feeling that I couldn't ignore. So I just hung around. Never went away.
So I was, just to give you a little bit of backstory, a little bit of filler. I was applying for the New Jersey State Police coming out of college. I had this master plan to, go into the state police and then into the FBI. I studied criminology. I studied political science. So I was pretty certain that this is the direction that I was going, and I wasn't going to let anybody, deviate. I was very focused. I wasn't going to let anybody deviate me from, that path. And so I was pretty focused on that direction. And then I started having some terrible dreams. I started having some nightmares about dying in the line of duty. And I'm sorry if that's a little too deep, but um, I remember in the beginning, I was having a lot of nightmares, and I realized later it was the nightmares was mainly from past trauma. I remember my therapist kind of said to me, "Thank God I didn't pursue that, because although I was comfortable in certain environments, it would have been like, re-traumatizing myself in these certain neighborhoods and stuff like that again." So,
Yeah, you would have been in constant fight mode and
yeah,
very reactionary, which can be dangerous.
for sure. So, I was coming off of a breakup, and I was taking my time, right? So, to be fair to her and to anybody else, my heart wasn't in a condition that it needed to be to kind of receive, any meaningful type of love or relationship, and I was open and honest about that, and I wasn't willing to rush that for anybody, because I knew I wasn't a casual dater. I had most of my relationships were pretty serious, but then also they were all very good. So I knew casual dating, if I saw an opportunity for the future, I'm typically dating serious. I'm dating for the next step. So I didn't really want to just jump into a relationship just to jump into it. Yeah. So what were your thoughts when I shared my vision with you for the first time?
I don't remember really having any alarming thoughts. I think I just thought, okay, I'm down with that. He used to say crazy things all the time just to try to get reactions out of me.
I did.
So I was used to crazy things, but that one actually didn't seem that crazy compared to some of the other things he would say.
It wasn't.
Like, okay.
I would say another thing that I always wanted a woman that was gonna, allow me to be me and fully receive me for, who I was. So part of the crazy things that I would share is just part of my story, and I would tell her a little bit and share some of my thoughts about, what happened, and just look at her face and see if she grimaced and see if she flinched, and she didn't flinch, and I would tell her a little bit more and see how much she's willing to, embrace of my story, because the reality is I didn't deal my hand myself. God dealt that hand to me, and I was just kind of playing those cards. So she made it comfortable for me to be able to do that, and I was able to really kind of just be completely open and honest.
But also, I think part of it was you did have some guards up. So you have this whole testing process that you didn't just use on me, you use it with pretty much anyone you meet.
Correct.
Where he goes deep, like right away, just with the questions. Like he doesn't want to be surface level. He wants to know who you are and what makes you tick. And so he asks deep questions right off the bat.
I do that. I still kind of do that today, but I'm a little bit more tamed on.
Yeah, he wants to shoot the questions out first so that you don't ask as many questions about him.
Yeah, but now I'm better. I'm better at sharing, so it allows actually people to be able to share more freely and easily tell their story without getting rapid fire. So yes, I would ask her some deep questions, and I would also remember those questions because I would circle back later and make sure that those questions lined up. So that's just dating. That's kind of how dating is a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, thank God we don't have to do that anymore, because
No.
I wouldn't even know where to begin in this current climate.
Yeah. Yeah, in this current climate, it's crazy. I wouldn't want to go through that testing and phase, again.
Yeah.
So, um so um so I told you about my vision, and do you remember what you said to me after I shared my story with you?
No.
No? Okay. All right. So, so I was able to share my whole story with her, and what I got back from her was, um, no one deserves to live that way, right? And that resonated with me because I never received that level of kindness before from anybody. So it was really genuine reception of of who I was, and I realized later that my story kind of resonates with a lot of people, not because they fully connect with it, but it's just they are allowed to empathize, with my story. Whereas the environment I came from, there was no room for empathy. There was no room for um, vulnerability. There was no room for really, a ton of love. And kind of just receiving that from you kind of just, made me feel at ease. And I think that's probably why our vibe has always been just so good and so easygoing.
I buttered you up.
You did. You did. You did butter me up. You did butter me up. So, and somehow, I think it's the um your sensitivity worked on me, whereas it did not. Sensitivity did not work on me at all. It's just almost like I always just felt your calm energy and your sensitivity. So when when you're hurt or you're sad or anything like that, I literally feel that, where I wouldn't feel that with anybody else, and that kind of always been there. So
I am a deep feeler.
Yes.
You used to call me a closet crier. I don't do that anymore.
No, you haven't done that for a long time. All right.
It's good to release your emotions. Like, they're there for a reason. Like, if you bottle everything up, you're just gonna explode. So
yeah. So, which was new for me, to be kind of a little bit more emotional, a little bit more, um, you know, a little bit more emotional with my feelings and a little bit more open, because historically not open. So, um, so that's kind of how we met, and then the dating process started, and that dating process was a long one. You want to shine light on that one? Unconventional, but it is what it is. The story is what it is. Right?
So in April of 2008, his lease was up and his roommates were moving, but he decided that, he had been waitlisted for the New Jersey State Police for a long time. He was just going to go back to Florida. So he did not want to go to the new apartment with his roommates. And he was planning on going back to Florida within a few months. So I was like, oh, you can just come live with me. Except that I was living at my mom's, and I didn't tell her that he was coming to live with us. So that was another situation. But, she charged us rent, and she wasn't happy about it, but
no, she
let it happen.
She was not happy about it. I was, the good thing is I've always been a good roommate. I'm domesticated, fairly clean. So I tried to be as non-present as possible, and I worked a lot back then too. So I would just come home, at night, and stay on the little. Was it a full size bed then?
It was.
It was a full size bed. But I think living together, for those few months. Although that's not our Christian stance, but it was probably one of the best things that we've ever done.
If you're interested in more of our content, please hit like and subscribe.
So we knew we could be in close quarters. We knew
Very tight quarters.
we could be in tight quarters, and it was easy. Easy. It didn't really feel like work. And then I remember I was getting prepared to move back down to Florida, and then that's the first time that I cried. Probably the first time I cried in a long time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that conversation?
I do. You said that you loved me, and you didn't know if you'd ever see me again.
I did not think I was going to see her again. I did have serious love for her.
Mind you, I had already decided to move to Florida, not with him, but I had a friend from college.
So you say.
I had a friend from college that in January of 2008 I had talked to and said, I'm thinking about coming down. And he had a roommate leaving, so I planned to move down and live with him. That was in West Palm Beach. Sam was moving back down to Fort Lauderdale. If you know Florida, it's only about a half hour, 40-minute distance. But he didn't think we'd ever see each other again.
But it's South Florida. South Florida is very busy, and I really didn't have any reason to go to Palm Beach on a regular basis. So
except to see your bestie.
Except to see my bestie, and my bestie would come and she would kidnap me for the weekend. So she made a point to see each other.
Well, you didn't have a car.
I didn't have a car. Yeah, I didn't have a car. I was starting back over. So that's kind of what our dating.
And I lived in West Palm for a year, and then when our lease was up, we were planning to move. I was actually looking to buy something at the time. That was like 2008, 2009, when the market had crashed and prices were really good. So I was looking, and then you said, well, once your lease is up, you can come stay with me for the month or two until you find a spot.
I was returning the favor.
As a favor, because I had let him come stay at my mom's.
She was right by me, so I was returning the favor, and I said, you come stay with me for a few months. It was easy. It was easy the first time, and we figured the second time would be just as easy, and it was. Mm-hmm. And you never left.
Never left.
Never left. So I remember at one point, right? So my brother, he was my roommate, and he said to me, he was like, Sam, she's not leaving, right? I was like, no, she's leaving. She's gonna buy a place, and
I was also nannying at the time, live-in nanny. So I was only there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the rest of the weekend, Thursday through Sunday, I was nannying.
Yeah, so he was like, yeah, she's not going anywhere. And then I was like, yeah, man. And then I started being like, wait, she's not going anywhere. But I think. But
then he was like, but this is going too smoothly. So I think she's being fake. So I probably should tell her she needs to get out.
I did. It doesn't. You know the crazy thing about this. This is kind of the connection I made later was when you come from a certain type of environment, and what your normal is you see people arguing and fighting, even like my parents and stuff like that. I saw them arguing and fighting and stuff like that. So my perception of a relationship is that's involved in there. So when I didn't see that felt strange to me, and it wasn't normal. It wasn't normal. So I think that's probably where my mind kind of really was, and luckily I have great friends. So I called up one of my friends. He was there the night that I met her, right? And he had met Cindy, and I was like, hey man, I'm getting ready to break up with Cindy. He's like,
Were we even together at that point?
no, we weren't really together, but we were.
So breakup, he meant just kick me out.
Yeah, not kick you out. Tell you to, tell you to go. So, and he was like, wow, what's going on? I was like, man, we don't argue or anything. It really don't even feel right to me. It really feels, if it feels fake, right? And then I remember listening to him. He goes, Sam, I'm listening to you, and most people would pray for what you have right now. And then that's when the light came on for me, because he's another man of faith, and he's from a great family, and I highly respect him a lot. And when he said that to me, I was kind of like, maybe I've been looking at it wrong. Maybe this is not a bad thing. Maybe this is a great thing. And that's kind of, I would say that was one of the turning points, and we started really kind of getting closer, during that time, and our relationship began to just grow more and more. But we still weren't dating.
Because we're not dating until Sam says we're dating.
So here's the issue, right? There's several times that you are dating someone, and then next thing you know, they try to stuff you in a relationship, right? And like I said, if I'm dating somebody and we're dating seriously, we're really looking to go to the next level. So I wanted to be extra careful, with that scenario. So not ideal, not perfect. We are imperfect, but that was the situation, right? So, but I remember having a conversation with you. It was in December, or close
I
to
think November.
December.
Yeah.
And I just remember we had gotten so close, and I was kind of like, I feel like you're my girlfriend.
I remember it. We were literally like just on the couch. I was getting ready to go to school. I was taking classes to try to get into med school. So we were just sitting on the couch talking before class, and that's what he said. I consider you my girlfriend. I was like, all right, long enough.
Yes. So
And then I had to leave.
then you had to leave, but that was a turning point, because once I looked at it like that, and I started really treating you like my girlfriend. I always treated you well, but there's levels to this. Obviously, if now that we're dating, I'm pursuing you, fully. So yeah, things did change, and things got more serious, and things got better. And then, so I don't know if you want to share this part where we started trying.
If you want to, go for it.
You go ahead.
Well, Sam wasn't sure he wanted me to be his wife yet, but he thought I'd be a great mom. So he was willing to try to have a baby, which I've always wanted babies, so I was down for that. So we tried for about 6 months. I would say it was probably in 2010, 2011.
Around there.
Yeah, maybe 2011. We tried for 6 months and nothing happened. And then he kind of got cold feet. I was like, no, let's do this the right way, and let's get married first, and then we'll try.
Yeah, to be fair, other guys typically have more self. What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
um, other guys typically put themselves first when they're looking at their partner and looking, at their needs and stuff like that. I wasn't in that same position. I wanted the best mother for my kids, and I was pretty sure that she was going to be the best mother for my kids. And the second part of it as a life partner came a little bit later, but I was really certain about that. I was always looking for the right mom for my kids, and I was certain that I found it. So I was okay with taking those steps and measures, even though it's unconventional. And I remember talking to a friend, and she said to me, she's like, if you're going to do all of that, you need to marry her. Right. And I was kind of like, yeah, you're right. And then that's kind of started pursuing those steps to get married. And I started calling her my yoke because she is my yoke. Right.
The Bible says you should be equally yoked. So that's where that came from.
That was where that came from. So I was telling her that for a while. She didn't know that I was really kind of planning to get engaged with her on Valentine's Day. So I was trying to throw her off, and I think she was pretty thrown off. Were you?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was coming that early.
Yeah, she didn't think it was coming that quick, so it kind of worked.
Although it wasn't really quick when you look at the timeline of our whole relationship or situationship.
Yeah, situationship. Yeah, I would agree with that. Not super quick in regards to that, but like I said, everything happens.
Took you long enough.
Everything happens for a reason, and it happened that way, and I wouldn't change it for the world, because I found my partner, and I'm lucky that she was patient with me, because I'm particular, but I'm also a great guy. So it kind of made sense. So and then when we got engaged, we got married.
Well, we got engaged in February, and then took premarital classes. Excuse me. During premarital, we met with our pastor, and we asked if he would marry us. But he asked, are you living together? And we were. So he said, well, you're going to have to either separate and not live together from now until you get married, or you have to get married in the courthouse. So we opted for plan B. Mm-hmm. We got married August 28th of 2012. That's our official wedding date. Mm-hmm. And then we got married in our wedding ceremony the following April 28th of 2013.
Yeah, so we celebrate both of those dates. The August courthouse marriage. Kind of share this a little bit.
We actually got more emotional for that one than the big elaborate ceremony.
Yeah, there was nobody there. It was just the two of us. We went to the courthouse, and that was. I've had a lot of experiences, but that was the first time that I was fearful in a long time. my voice cracked. I'm like, am I sure that this is it? Because this is forever. This is a done deal. At that time I was scared that I would mess things up, and I was very open and honest, with her about my feelings. And I think a lot of couples are not that, open and honest, about where they're at and how they feel. But, she's always made it really easy for me to be open, honest, and share how I feel. And we kind of work through that together. And then now, it took me some time for that fear to lessen, but the longer we have been together, the easier it has gotten. And then now it looks like, I was stupid to be fearful.
Well, part of that fear was still, we didn't argue much and we never had a big conflict. So we never had to work through anything of, big significance, really.
Mm-hmm.
And you thought with your story and the way you were and some of your insecurities that once we got married, I might try to change you.
Correct.
So you were worried I wasn't being 100% myself and that
Correct.
I would try to change you when you were being 100% yourself.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the fear came from. But
yeah, I think I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, I was always myself and you were always yourself.
Yeah. And I was like, just so you know, I'm not changing. So, which is kind of funny because, I am changing, right? You are changing. We're not the same people that we were when we were 21. All right, like not even close, right? So many stories that we're telling right now, we were just
life happened.
Yeah, we were young puppies, and those are some of the subject topics we're going to be kind of covering on how do you grow together, how do you change together, how do you support each other, how do you serve each other, how do you negotiate your marriage, how do you renegotiate once you have been in for a while. These are real life things that couples go through but never have a great outlet or a great couple to kind of get some of these ideas and thoughts from. So these are some of the experiences that we've had that we feel like we could add value to other couples, by just kind of just sharing our story.
So now you know how we got together and we got married. So next is obviously the story of the kids, but I think that itself needs its own dedicated podcast because that's quite a story and it was quite a journey to get to dealing with infertility and all the things that we went through.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to throw one more thing in there before we get off of here. But there was during premarital. This was a pivotal point. During premarital, they asked, did you guys talk or negotiate the terms of, who's going to be doing what in the marriage and who's going to be, doing this and doing that? Or are you okay with this? And are you okay with that? And then that was the first time that we thought about some of these, what would you call it? Some of these roles in our marriage. And who was going to play what role and stuff like that. So we sat down and we mapped it out, and surprisingly, we kind of mapped it out fairly quickly. We were able to kind of make some.
Well, he quickly said, "I absolutely will not do laundry."
And you said,
so I said, "Okay, I'm not scrubbing toilets."
Yeah, you say you're not scrubbing toilets. I'm like, fair deal. I'm okay with that, right? So so there were some things that she didn't want to do, and there's some things I didn't want to do, and we're okay with trading those off, and and then the good thing has been is once we said that this is what the roles are, and then here's what you're doing, here's what we're doing, and we just know that this is our roles, and we have to just take care of it, right? It hasn't really been issues like that. And if there is, we talk about it really quick and, make a quick pivot, to adjust. So
we might need to renegotiate the dishes. I never agreed to take that on all by myself. Just say it.
I'm okay with that one. So I'm not going to lie with that. So outside of that, just want to say thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. Have a great night.
Peace.